Today, we're going to be choosing one of the items from our list that we made yesterday to write a story about today. So, yesterday, we made a list of 5 items that we see in the springtime. So, today, you're going to choose one of those 5 things and you're going to be writing a story about it. You can choose to make your story fictional, so not real. It can be a narrative, or you can make your story informative. An informative story is where we write facts. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose one of the items from our list. How many items? You're right, one. One item from our list. So yesterday, my list was flowers, sunshine, blooms in the trees, kids playing, and rainbows. Those are the 5 things that I can see in the springtime. So I'm going to choose one of those 5 items. And the item that I'm going to choose today for my story is flowers. So my story is going to be about flowers. It's not going to be about kids playing or rainbows that I see, because I just want to focus on one thing for our story today. So our second step, we're going to think about some adjectives that we can use to describe our item. So if my item in my story is going to be about flowers, I could describe flowers by saying that they're pretty or colorful. Flowers are blooming, they're yummy smelling, they're brightly colored. So go ahead and think of some adjectives that would describe the item that you're thinking of. Next, you're going to think of the idea that you want your story to be about. So you need to picture your story in your head before you even write it. So first we need to decide, do I want my story to be a narrative or do I want my story to be informative? I think that for my story today about flowers, I'm going to make it a narrative. So I'm going to make it something about me or something that happened to me, or it could be fictional. So now we need to think of our story in our head. So I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to think about how I can use the word flowers and how I can describe flowers in my story. So this is a picture of me picking some flowers. You'll notice there's a little butterfly there too. Just a drawing. So in my head, I'm just thinking about the time that I was outside and I saw some pink and yellow flowers. So now that I have the idea in my head, now I can write my story. I want you to think of at least 3 good sentences. So remember, this is already in my brain. I already thought of my story in my brain. Now I can write my sentences. Here are the sentences that I wrote. In the springtime, I can see pretty flowers. The flowers smell yummy. That's one of the adjectives. The flowers were pink and yellow, and I picked them for my mom. Now, we need to make sure that we read each word to make sure that our story makes sense. So watch as I read my story. In the springtime, can see pretty flowers. What? That doesn't make sense. In the springtime, I can see pretty flowers. I forgot the word I. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pen and I'm going to write the word I, so that now let's see if my story makes sense. In the springtime, I can see pretty flowers. The flowers smell yummy. The flowers were pink and yellow. I picked them for my mom. That makes more sense. Now I need to double check for a capital after each period. And I need to make sure that my sight words are spelled correctly. So first, let me make sure that all of my capitals are after my punctuation. So there's my punctuation. Next letter is a capital. Period. Next letter is a capital. Period. Next letter is a capital. I've got them all. Let's double check to make sure that all of my sight words are spelled correctly also. So in, the, can, see, the, and yellow for my mom. Yep, those are all of my sight words and I spelled them all correctly. Now it's going to be your turn. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose an item from your list yesterday. You're going to think of a story that you want to write about that item. Think about the story in your brain first. Then write your sentences, read it over, and check it for neatness. Be sure to do your kindergarten best.